Here. Okay, hello teams. Yay, launch 3, launch your business 3. Yeah. Before we jump into the content, I would love to hear those of you that have been with us for part 1 and part 2. I want to hear, why don't we unmute if you'd like to, be brave and share with us a little bit of, how it's been going for you. Give us, share a win. Let's hear a win from applying what we've learned in our launch part 1 and part 2. Just go for it.
Well, I will share a win. Last week, I really broke through a comfort zone with our role playing that we did. And so I had a class while the continuing ed class was going on. And when it was time for me to talk about the 3 ways to purchase oils and the 3 kinds of people, I could feel that energy from last week. And it went really, really well. So everybody that was in class agreed to a follow-up for their order, except for one person.
That's huge. That is amazing. That's amazing. That's a big win.
Yes.
So you really felt like you're a testimony of how role playing really, really makes a difference, huh?
Yeah.
That's cool. Show of hands or type in the chat if you've practiced role playing with your mentor this past few weeks since then. That's something to do. If you haven't, when you have especially when you're launching a business, and you in doTERRA, we launch our business and then all of a sudden we're like business mentors, right? And we're like, I just started, I don't even know what I'm doing, right? So here's something to do. Definitely, is role play with your new builders. Find out exactly how they're, and when you do that, you find out exactly what they're saying or where they need to tweak. You think that, when we are training, not everything's getting absorbed. I think it's probably 50% gets absorbed. We all miss little things here and there. And so the role playing is that space where we get to then refine and fill in the missing pieces. So, okay, awesome. Well, I'm going to get right into it then, and we can share more wins, but thank you so much for sharing, Jacqueline. So today we're going to go over Elite in 6 weeks, that process of launching builders or launching yourself. And also I want to emphasize again, like I did last week, about duplication. So we're going to be sharing with you also what the duplication model is that we're leading with. And if you're new to doTERRA as a business, you'll hear that word quite a bit, duplication. Duplication it just means time freedom for yourself. It means things are simple, they're easy to do, that anybody can do them, so that one day you won't have to do it yourself in order to have your business be growing. It means it's something that can be easily passed along for someone else to be able to do. And you'll hear this phrase often as well of, it's not what works, it's what duplicates. So we all have it, because we're all creative beings, we do have a tendency to try to recreate the wheel. I do it all the time myself. Even I'm looking back at some of the continuing education classes that a couple months ago, and I was like, I did that way more complicated than I needed to. We have this tendency to complicate. Nusha, did you want to say something?
Sorry to interrupt you. I realized I didn't stop recording. Should I stop recording?
Yeah, go for it. You can stop recording, and I'm recording.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yep, totally. No problem. So it's definitely we want to bring our love. Our love is the most creative energy in the universe, right? And how you're going to love someone is going to be unique to you. The melody of your voice when you say something is going to be unique to you. Maybe even the way in which you tweak some of the languaging will be unique to you. But I promise you, the power of network marketing and the time freedom and the passive income comes from following a duplicatable map that other people can follow. All right, so let's get into it. I'm going to share screen. And I pulled this just in the theme of duplication. The slide that I'm going to share with you comes from the dailymentorcalls.com website. And I pulled this down from the Back to Basics resource section. So you can utilize this same exact slide and train your team someday on this too, okay, friend? I didn't tweak it at all. All All right, so here we are, 6 weeks to elite. We're going to create massive action. And this is Elise Chedevy and Patrick Chedevy. They're the brainchilds of this, not everything within it is what they created, but they really compiled and made a synthesis of like, what's the most duplicatable, easy to do method of building your business. Okay. And they're the ones that created dailymentorcalls.com if you haven't been there yet. All right, here we go. So, what is a foundation and why do we create them? So we can look at a building right here, yeah? Because in our doTERRA business, we're creating an organization. We're creating a structure. And which would you prefer? We can see on the left, a really poorly designed foundation and structure that obviously is going to collapse. And you could do that in your business as well. Or you can also create something that's going to live and stand the test of time through earthquakes, through challenges, through windstorms, right? Which would we prefer? And there's a specific way to build our foundation, right? So that it can reach, you can build it so that it can just duplicate and duplicate and duplicate, and you can continue to build as many levels because that foundation was really strong. All right, so the foundation is the most important part of your business. And in doTERRA, our foundation is the rank called elite. So we're gonna go into that. Let's explain what that is for a moment. And it's funny, on the slide, they put 3000 PT. It's supposed to be PV, but we're going with it. I'm just gonna be duplicatable and simple and use this slide, even though it's not that pretty. I'm still using it. All right, so elite is when you have created through your organization 3,000 volume. So 3,000 volume, what does that mean? So in doTERRA, all of our products have something called a PV, a product value. And it's really easy for the oils. It's in the US, it's $1 for 1 PV. Like, for example, peppermint oil costs $22. Its value is 22 PV. So once through your organization, you have 3,000 PV being sold, you're the rank of elite. It's usually about 15 people enrolled, and they can be customers or wellness advocates, either one. And usually it's about 15 people because most people, when they enroll with a kit, which is somewhere between 100 to 200 or more even. So that is about the average, is 3,000 PV, usually around 15 people, and you're gonna be the rank of elite. So in this, and I think someone needs to be muted, if either Nusha or thanks. So we're gonna learn, so this is all about really wrapping our minds around how we're gonna build people to elite, how we're gonna first build ourselves to elite, then how we're gonna help build other people to elite, and then how we're gonna teach our teams then to build other people to elite so we can build that skyscraper. All right. So as an example, now we're gonna look at ranks a little bit to really drive it home of how really in this business, you're just always helping someone go elite. So a silver rank, you can see a silver rank is made up of that you've had 3 people go elite. And how awesome is that annual earnings, 26,000? Think about all the people in the world right now that just got laid off, and they would have loved to have a little silver. We've had people on our team, many, that are like, oh, that silver rank check has been just saving my life, right? So that's just 3 elites. If you want to go platinum, you help those 3 people that were elite go silver by helping them get their 3 elites, right? So there's 9 elites that make up your platinum rank, and you are making a 6-figure income. That's our average annual earnings because you helped 9 people go elite. If you want to be a diamond, that's simply, what is that? 3 times 4. I'm bad at math. 12? Is that 12 elites? Okay, 12 elites for 200,000 per month or per year. Average annual earnings is just that you helped 12 people go elite, which helped 4 people go silver. You guys starting to understand that elite is the foundation? Boom. You want to go presidential diamond? That's just 6 platinums, right? So then you just add an extra 9 elites onto that. Yeah. And so I know for most of us, when we start building this business, we like look at the gold rank and we're like, okay, I could see myself maybe being able to attain that. But presidential diamond seems like, who in the world could ever even, that just seems crazy to be a millionaire, right? That person's a millionaire. I can't ever see myself there. But once you've started building doTERRA, for a while, you realize I could just keep helping people go elite. I can totally do that. And so if you want to, you can actually be a presidential diamond if you want it. Just a decision. So let's talk about jumpstarting our business, what that looks like in a way that creates massive action. So this is a strategy, which is called Elite in 6 weeks, where you're going to help, you're going to help yourself go to elite, but then you're going to help 3 builders become elite. And then you're going to help them all of them continue to launch 6 weeks to elite, which will teach your leaders to help others become elite as well. And that's all we're ever doing, friends. All right. So what does that look like to launch? So you're going to want to choose when someone enrolls and they say, okay, I'd like to start building this business. Step 1, right? Making a decision of when am I going to start? So choosing a week to start. Step 2, making a list of a 100-person names list. And I love how Dana chime in at any time as well in here, but I love how Dana calls it a living document. So our 100-person names list isn't something that you just make once. You're going to constantly be adding to it, right? And I know when I started, and many of my friends actually were already building doTERRA, and I was like, I don't really even know anybody. It was totally a lie. It was totally just scarcity consciousness. We all statistically know about 1,000 people that know us by name, and we know them by name. So just start memory jogging, brain dumping, look at your Facebook, look at your past. Some of the people that are silver rank on my team now, I hadn't talked to for 10 years. Dana, did you want to chime in and say anything on this place? Or?
Well, I will say that it was one of my biggest blocks was to work from a list and to do the whole list process. And it is one of the most valuable things we can do for our business. And anytime in my many years of doTERRA that I want to relaunch, which is all the time, okay, so that's why we're all here, is I make a list. I make a new list. Maybe I'll pull from my old list, but I'll make a new list. And Elise Sedevi, who's this duplication system that we're working, that is also what she will do. When she wanted to go double presidential, right, build a second presidential whole business, she made a new list. And she also had to think like Avasa, do I really know anyone? So it took her some time to build that list at that point, but it's such an important piece. Yeah.
Totally. doTERRA is a really simple business, and it's an easy business in a sense. Like, how difficult, we don't have to manage sourcing of our products. We don't have to know how to distill them or work with harvesters and farmers. And we don't even have to get a website up. doTERRA does all the hard work. Our work is really simple. It's make a names list, but it's amazing how these things that are easy to do are really easy not to do. In our mind, this thing between our 2 ears really creates these tremendous illusions, these blocks. So brain dump. Don't think about it too much. So from there, you're going to then, with your mentor, decide on, you're going to be scheduling 4 classes your first week when you're going to actually launch your business. Usually a success schedule in doTERRA is usually you only are teaching 1 class a week, right? But when we're launching, we're going to launch with kind of like a rocket ship that uses the most amount of fuel right at the beginning so that it catches really awesome momentum. So our recommendation is 4 classes your very first week. Obviously, if someone wants to go a little bit of a slower pace, that's fine too. They can do 2 the first week, 2 the next week. But this is a recommendation. Then we're going to guarantee good attendance. So we'll go through that. And from there, we'll invite others to host future classes. And we're going to just, keep doing this over and over again. Oh, there we go. So step 1, choose your week to start. So we recommend, and the week to start is going to be the week that you teach with your mentor upline. So we don't recommend you actually teach your classes yourself Actually, I recommend not doing that. I really recommend teaming up with your sponsor. You know, if that person's not available, go up, you know, the next level to your eventually you'll reach to your diamond up line, and they will help you teach your first 4 classes. So you're not doing it on your own. But we recommend doing that between 2 to 8 weeks from, if you're launching, like 2 to 8 weeks from today, you know, and that's because of the law of diminishing intent. Newton's law of motion, which says that those that stay in motion, or those that are, I'm not exactly clear on what the exact phrase is, but it's like those that stay at rest tend to stay at rest. Those that are in motion tend to stay at motion, right? It's like inertia. We have to fight this inertia, right? To just like kind of rip off the Band-Aid and get started, because the fear comes up, right? And if we keep waiting, procrastinating, that fear tends to grow and grow. Okay, so, and then do you want to build your business effectively or ineffectively? This is really key, very key. So step 2, make a list, and we're going to start sending out samples. So again, the 100 names list, and from there, we're going to rate that list. We're going to hone in on the demographic within our names list that actually has a greater potential to possibly do this as a business. And why? Because we want to create an awesome foundation. Like, we ideally have at least 1, if not 2 people that want to partner with us in the first few months that we start building our business, so that we can start building like a skyscraper, right? So we're going to begin to rate our names list by these 7 criteria. So we'll go through and we'll say, is this person a woman between 30 to 55? Do they have a money need, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you'll give them a person a 3 or a 4 or a 5 or a 7, you know, however many they have. And we're going to first start to sample and invite to our classes the people that are between a 5 and a 7, to increase the likelihood of them potentially doing this as a business with us, right? And Dana's going to be talking about structure and placements today. So it'll also come a little bit together when she goes through that, of why it's really ideal to focus on that demographic first. So we're going to sample those on the list first, which have the highest potential, like we said, from the 7 characteristics. And when we sample people, we're going to sample 1 per person. We're going to start with sampling an inexpensive oil, like our peppermint oils or our digestin. We're not going to be sampling our frankincense, right? And we're going to give them a sample for one of their health concerns. So I'm giving you a really light overview of the sampling process. Obviously, you'll want to go and listen into daily mentor calls, work with your upline to get into the nitty-gritty of the sampling. Now, when we're in step 3, so now that we've sampled people, once they've had a good experience with that oil, we're going to then be inviting them to come to our classes. And like we said before, the ideal would be 4 classes your first week. That's in order to give people an option to choose, right? If you have only 1 class scheduled, then you have a good likelihood a third of those people that day and time won't work for them. But if you have a Thursday at 12 and a Thursday at 7, and then a Saturday, and you have these different options, you're going to guarantee that some people are going to be able to come to it. And then again, Dana's going to go over placements. So this is going to help with structuring and placements. And what's really great too is within that class, like having sort of like an intensive, and is it intense? Yes, of course. It's intense to be sampling out to 30 people and inviting those people and then having those 4 classes in 1 week. It'll feel like a little bit of a whirlwind for sure. But you're in 4 classes, you're going to be able to become very proficient in teaching the class by yourself. You're going to find a builder, you're going to enroll customers, and there's a good potential you may even hit elite in that, even in that first month. I've seen it happen, but definitely in your second month, you know, within 6 weeks. So this is when you're hosting classes, which is great. Now let's talk about the guarantee of good attendance. So we're going to go back a little bit to that sampling process we did before they came to that class. Usually any events, and I'm a musician, so I've done, you know, performances and all sorts of things. Usually whenever you invite a people to an event, or you're hosting an event, it's usually about a 20% attendance rate, right? Like, you know, you can just assume that if you invited 10 people to your party, 2 of them are going to actually show up. You know, obviously, unless it's like your birthday party, but for a general like event. So with this methodology, we get to increase that percentage to about 60 to 80%. And it's through this 5 contact method. So once you've gone through your 100% names list, we've honed in on the demographic we're going to first focus on. We're going to do first contact, which is to give them a free sample. 2 days later, we're going to be following up call 2 days later. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So first contact is to give them a sample. Second contact is when you actually drop off that sample, right? Or these days and if you live close to them, you can literally drive it to their mailbox. But these days there's a lot of mailing the sample to them, right? So second contact is when they've got the sample and you follow up with them to show them how to use that sample. You then call them 2 days later to see if they've had the opportunity to try that sample yet. How did it work? It worked really well. Awesome. After they had a good experience, you've now invited them to come to your class. And you have 4 options, right? Which is really great. From there, you'll tell them that you're going to call them 2 days before to give them information about the class. So that's when you would give them the Zoom link, you know, tell them this is how you log in or whatever, give them a little information. It's also reminding them about the class. People have very busy schedules, they'll forget. And then 2 hours, texting them 2 hours before the presentation. So excited to see you, so that they don't forget again. And if you hit all of these contacts, now you've obviously done a great job of like taking care of them. They're going to remember to come to the class, but you've also built trust. And people want to get involved. They want to buy from somebody. They would like to grow a business with someone that they know, like, and trust. So there's a huge reason for all of these contacts, okay? And even in the sales world, it's usually about 9 to 12 touches with something before we're ready to buy. You know, you think about those shoes that you like those shoes, but you need to like think about them. You need to see them a couple times before you're ready to make that investment. It's the same with this. So that's guaranteeing good attendance. So from that first week, you've been able to tell, you know, during that first week at the end of the class, right? We talk about the 3 types of people. We invite people to host classes. We actually have people interested in building the business. So what are we doing? We're booking classes from classes. So we recommend that following that first intensive week, the following week, we have then 2 classes per week. And she says here for the next 5 weeks, you know, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. And so doable these days, you guys, like everything's online. We used to, you know, back in when before the Armageddon, you know, we'd like go and drive to people's homes, but you know, and so it was a lot more work. These days, you literally just got to show up. You know, you could have pajamas bottoms, you know, on the bottom, just show up to your laptop, right? It's pretty simple. So 2 classes per week for the next 5 weeks, because you're not only going to be teaching your own classes, but you're going to be helping launch your builders as well. Getting future classes on your calendar. Again, this is all about, we book classes out of classes by having hostess gifts. This is a great idea. The keychain is awesome because you can incentivize them and say for every person that you bring to our online class, you will get a full sample vial full of an oil of your choice, or you can decide for them which oils you put in there. So that's a really great sample idea. So yay, Elite in 6 weeks. We now have new team members. Your new wellness advocate is trained and actively teaching classes. You've earned really good fast start bonuses. Those fast start bonuses are legitimate. When you do these steps, you're set up for a successful business. Future classes are going to be booked on your calendar to keep your business going. And again, duplication, which is teaching others to do what you did, and you can just keep going and going and going. And you know, I mean, those of you that have been in this business for a long time, like you've probably witnessed those people that are like, yeah, I want to host a class. And then they teach 1 class. And then like a month later, they teach another class. And then a couple months later, they teach another class. And do they hit elite, the rank of elite? No, not for a long time. Like there's people that can hit elite in 30 days and there's someone that can hit elite in a year. And the difference is whether or not they're deciding to launch with consistency, you know, rather than spacing it way, way out. So this is the recommendation. Now you know how to build your foundation, become elite, help your builders become elite, teach leaders to help others become elite, and duplicate. So questions around elite in 6 weeks. And I can go back to any slides as well. Does it feel clear?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I understand the concept, and I hope I'm not putting up a roadblock as I'm asking the question, because I've been really aware of that lately.
Bring us the roadblocks. It's good. Yeah.
But if, like, I know you teach an intro to oils class like on Friday nights.
Yeah.
So it's okay for us to invite people to that, but we should also be doing our own classes. Is that correct?
Yes, totally. So what I recommend, and I assume Dana and his team is the same, is for that like weekly class, just let your upline know that you're going to be coming to that class, and they can have you teach a portion of the class as well. That's what I've been doing. Is like we just, one person teaches the 3 cool things, another person teaches the 3 ways, someone else closes. That way you can have a little bit of a voice even. But yes, you can definitely utilize that as one of your classes. Definitely.
Cool. Thank you. No roadblock.
That was definitely not a roadblock. No, that was good. That was creative. Dana?
I just wanted to add that part of the reason why we have so many classes in 1 week is it's like we're putting out a net to catch people in their different timings. Right. So that's the other reason, is that not everyone can make, like, we have a team class that is offering and rotating between different people on Saturday. And I love that, bringing in others to teach during the class. Brigitte and I did a class like that. And we encourage during the week to do your one-to-ones or classes, because sometimes those classes that you're going to be scheduling out will be 2 or 3 people. When we say classes, this business can be built with classes with 1 person, 2 people, couple people, but maybe you'll have 4 or 5 people in there, and that would be a really fun class, so just to keep in mind, when I know that when I was told, oh, you have to teach these classes, I was like, oh, in my head, I saw a classroom of 30 people. Yeah.
So important that it's awesome. Yeah. Most of our classes, like our entire diamond rank, has been built by teaching 2 people at a time, seriously. And sometimes 1 person at a time.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Never. I mean, I can't even think of like a class I've had with more than 10, maybe once.
I had one in Venice, I remember, and it was when our upline, Erin, came in. And so I marketed it really heavily by saying we had someone, our teacher was coming in, right?
Yeah.
And then we had like 25 people that one class.
Oh, well, that's exciting.
Yeah, it was.
But they recommend, something that isn't in the slide actually, is Elise really recommends too, for every 1 person that's a wellness advocate in a class, no more than 3 people, actually. No more than 3 for 1 advocate. So if you and your upline are doing it together, you could have 6 people. But if it's just you teaching the class, 3 people is really best, so that you can give them the appropriate attention and time. In the online world, we're going to be following up with them after anyway. So it might not apply quite as much. Like when we were doing in-home classes, we would be then sitting down with them right after the class to really address their top health issues and help them get started with the right kit. And so if you had more than 3, it took too long, right? People wanted to go home, their babysitter was waiting for them or something, right? So it's a little bit of a less of an issue, I think, with the online, but still, it's that kind of phrase of like slow is fast a little bit, not too slow, but sometimes less is more. So feel successful. One of our new builders, she was sharing that, you'll sample. She said, for example, shared that she sampled 8 people, and so far 3 of them, I think 3 or 4 of them wanted to come to a class, and she was like, oh, I'm not sure if that's successful. That's successful. That's really right. That's actually what it is too. Remember that 50% of the people that you sample, it'll be about 50% will then end up turning around and being the people that want to come to your class. So, yeah, you're doing good, team. Any other questions?
what's that percentage? You get so many no's before you get your yes. Do you remember there's that I'm not good with remember. Anybody remember those percentages of how many no's sometimes come in? It's a lot. Okay.
No, but I remember Elise was saying, like, I don't know the percentage, but on numbers, she was saying if you sample 100, 60 will take it. If you offer to sample 100, 60 will take it. 40 will keep, responding using whatnot. At the end, it's like 10 or something coming to class out of all of that, or something like that, maximum. And out of like 8 or 10, something like that. So it goes from like 60 to 40 to 30 to, when you invite 30 people, 20 will say yes, but 10 will show up, kind of like that. And 6 to 7, maybe 6 will sign up.
Yeah.
1 will be an advocate or something like that. It's like,
yeah. And those statistics are better than most business statistics. I just want to put that out there. Like most businesses, it's going to be way less percentage, just like the way our retention is 65%, whereas most are 8 to 10%, because we have such a effective, experiential, someone has an experience with your oils right away, right? The peppermint, boom, that worked, right? You don't get that if you are, selling shower heads or something, right? So yeah, we're business women now, and men, we're entrepreneurs. Got to be strong, consistent, have a little bit of grit. Dana, yeah.
Oh no, I was just unmuting.
I wanted us to say something about teaching classes, especially that we are all now online and we can easily collaborate with each other. Before it was very difficult because we were all just different places. But if you have suddenly a class that is all yours and you have 10 people and you're kind of a little freaked out, you could totally even collaborate with a cross line and say, would you have time to join me in this class to help me with these people? Or, like if you feel a little uncomfortable, the collaboration is awesome.
Yeah.
It's just, I think that's great. We can do it now easily.
Totally. We have 24 people on this call. These are all super beautiful hearted people that would love to collaborate. I love that, Nusha. Awesome. So why don't we pass the torch now to you, Dana? I'm excited. She's going to go over structuring.
So yeah, I'm going to talk about placements and structure. So before we shift gears, let's just all stand up if you can. And let's just shake it out because this is a lot of information. Pat through, let's go down our inside of our meridians, on our arms, on our outside. Do 3 times. On the outside and then down the front, be gentle with your organs, all the way down to the fronts of your legs, down the legs 3 times, the front, side, and back, the legs. And then if you can, get the backs of the tops of your shoulders, and gently, we're gonna unfist the lower back, just rub over your kidneys, and gently tap with your fingertips your brain. All right. You still with us? Need to move our bodies a little bit, right? These Saturday marathons are awesome. Thank you for that, Avasa. 6 weeks to Elite. You have been going through this process. Let's just all bring our attention and vision into that. Okay, we've been in that process. We have people coming into our organization and we're thinking, now where do I put them, right? So we have 14 days to learn about our new enrolled person, to figure out where we want to place them. 14 days. So before I jump into the training, I would love to hear how that process just has gone for some of you, what you've done in the past, how you've handled that. If you have a new person, what do? You can chat through or just unmute and just share what you do when you...
I consult with my immediate upline to strategize where to put the person.
Awesome. What if she's not available and you have 1 day left?
Well, I'm a planner, so I never have just 1 day, Dana. But,
awesome, Jackie!
But if I had to do it on my own, I would probably, if it's just a customer, definitely put them down below someone who's trying to build.
Okay, great. Great.
Hopefully
yeah,
that's the right idea.
Yeah, it is. And there isn't really a wrong answer here. I'm just curious how it's been going and what people's processes have been before I just launch in to talk at you, because placements is definitely, we need to lead with our heart with placements, but we also need to understand why we're doing what we're doing. So it is as much of a philosophy and a personal philosophy about certain ideas as it is structure and strategy. So, this system that we're using and that Avasa introduced so beautifully as duplicatable, it's not just that Elise did this and it worked. It's actually, she actually invested like hundreds of thousands of dollars into a company that creates systems to help with this. And part of that is, do you want to build effectively or ineffectively, right? Remember Avasa said that before. So this is a really big piece, because building ineffectively is probably how I built for quite a few years, without really following a system or jumping from system to system and placing as I thought. So I want to say that as I'm sharing this with you here today beforehand, because it is a powerful thing to build intentionally and follow a map, right? So I'm going to, we'll just jump in. I'll show my screen. I have to close my door too. Hold on one sec. So same thing. This is coming from the same exact area of where Avasa pulled the other PowerPoint that we started with. I'm just looking for play. There we are. So who are you looking for and where do you place them? This is why making your list and rating them, going through that process of rating who we're looking for and finding your 5, 6s, and 7s that you rated in that process is key, okay? So that we are planning, we are using our strategy. And then where do we place them? So let's look at this. Who am I looking for? And I would really love for us to engage here. So you can just chat in through the chat, like things that I think probably all of us have thought about, the kinds of builders that we want. So go ahead and throw it in the chat. I want to see. Committed and capable, love it. What does committed and capable mean? Inspired, self-reliant, positive, self-reliant. What does that mean, right? So yes, we are looking for self-reliant leaders. Consistent. And we also, why? Because we're building for time freedom. That's the goal. But what is self-reliant? What does that mean? The very, very foundation of self-reliant means that we can figure out how to enroll someone. Like that's like the main, most like little clue that says, oh, this person, you have somebody and then all of a sudden they call you and say, I enrolled someone, what do I do? That's a good key. That's a good clue. But sometimes some of us, we need to have to be walk through that. Like me, I needed somebody to show me how to enroll someone, right? So, but often when we come to this business, we're coming for time freedom. There's lots of ways we can make money, right? There's lots and lots of ways that we can make money. Maybe right now, not as many, to be honest, at this time. There are not as many career opportunities as we once had. Probably even since the last time I presented this, things have changed. But a huge part of why we're coming here is for this time freedom piece. And this has a lot to do with placements and structure. I know my first few years in doing doTERRA, anytime I went to a placements meeting, all I wanted to know was understand the levels and take me through that.
But this is the most important part, is to understand why we're building how we are as I take you through this. Okay, so there are 3 types of people that enroll in doTERRA. We have been training on this, right? We have really come to understand how to talk about this in our classes, or we're practicing this script. But it's also important for us, as we're bringing people in, to recognize, are they a product user? Maybe they're a sharer, maybe they're a builder. Right? We need to ask them, and then we need to be able to recognize the difference between these and not project what we think, right? That's probably the trickiest thing. Oh, this person's going to be a builder. I found my builder, right? Who's gone through this experience of thinking, I found my first builder, but we didn't even ask them. We just think that they're going to be a great builder. They check all the boxes off. They're a 7 on our list, but we didn't ask them. We just thought so, and they committed to 100 LRP, and we put people under them. Right? I'm going to show you what this looks like, but we can project a lot in this area. We can also project, oh, you're going to be great product users. So this is not just about us recognizing and observing. This is also about our communication. We have to communicate with the people that are coming in. We have to get to know them and get to understand what they're looking for, and also present all the options to them. Not decide that they don't have enough money, not to make up any ideas that they are making enough money. I've also heard that as an excuse. They have so much money. They're not going to want to build a business. But we don't know this. We need to ask. So how do we identify which type of person is coming through? Yes, we went through these types. This is the yes. So let's just look. We're looking for committed and capable people, right? Oops, my screen went crazy. This is commitment. Someone who's willing to jump right in, and they enroll, and 2 weeks later, they're ready to launch, and they are going for it. They are committed, right? This is a committed person. I am committed, and I probably will never do that. So you don't have to jump off a cliff. But there is that feeling when you're excited to start your business and you're ready to go for it, that you're just trusting the process, which is one of the reasons why we have this beautiful system, because there is a process to trust, right? We can show you that whole process. So committed, this is you. And I'm going to talk through an organization of what committed looks like, because we have this organization, okay? You guys all with me? I can't see you all, so I'm going to just expand this so I can see you too. Yeah, there we go. So this is an organization that would be committed, but maybe some people here are not so capable, okay? And so this is, you are here, and you did your launch, and you enrolled your wonderful Aunt Edna. Aunt Edna is maybe, she's a little older. She is committed. She comes to every single one of your events. She makes the brownies for the after part. When we used to meet in person, we'd have brownies or maybe some chia seed pudding with oils in it. She brings that. She is also going to all the doTERRA corporate events, right? Like Aunt Edna, she is committed. She is in, but she's never enrolled anyone. So you yourself are excited to support her, and you put all these people under her. And then you've got your sister. Your sister's committed and capable. She's enrolling people, and she's bringing some people in. And then you have Betty over here, who's really a strong leader as well. Okay, maybe your sister's needing a little bit of help. In this organization, when you only have someone who's committed but not capable, and you love, which happens for all of us, right? There's a very common thing to do. I love my Aunt Edna, and she's coming to everything, so I'm going to put all these great people under her. What happens here from a big long-term perspective of time freedom is you suddenly now have 1, 2, 3 leaders under Aunt Edna, or customers that you yourself are working with, as well as 4, your sister, 5, Betty, instead of just 3. Okay, and maybe you've enrolled a few people under your sister, so you're also helping them. So remember when Avasa just showed us what a presidential organization looks like, that 6 leaders at the top? You yourself here, maybe you're building for silver, but you're working a presidential organization, okay? You're working all these different leaders. Time freedom is about empowering each leader to then lead their people. So this is not an ideal situation, even though Aunt Edna's very committed. She's not necessarily capable, and she's actually never enrolled one person, not a one. Does anybody relate to this? It's okay, you know, when we study placements, we just all admit that there's no perfect organization. That's what I'll say. There's no perfect organization. And then we have capable. Capable is a powerhouse, right? So capable is somebody who knows how to enroll people. Capable is somebody who is bringing lots and lots of people, and you're like, wow, this person's really capable, but maybe they're not committed. Can you recognize that, right? So let's look at what this structure looks like. Julie is very active. She is bringing people in, and you are psyched. You're like, oh my goodness, Julie is amazing. She's influencing people. She's sharing these oils. She's enrolling them like crazy. I have all these new people under Julie, but Julie has a lot of other things going on in her life. She's running another business. She has some children, and she's not fully committed to her doTERRA business. And you say, that's okay. I'm going to help all your people because you're really excited that all these people are coming. Don't worry about it. Does anybody know this story? I've definitely done this. Don't worry about it. I'll train them all. But again, what you've done to yourself is you've cut out the time freedom because you're actually running a presidential organization with one leader, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 6 leaders in a presidential organization. So you're tending to all of them, feeling overwhelmed, not seeing income. And Julie over here is like, you know what? Actually, she gets to gold and she's awesome at it, like bringing in all the people. And she goes, you know what? Dana, actually, doTERRA is not for me because she was never committed. She was never committed to the long haul. So then you have this huge volume of an organization. Now you at the beginning might be thinking, so what? I'll take that. But you don't have a leader to help you run with that organization. So you are not fully supported in your efforts of time freedom. There might be income there, but you might be very, very busy. So does that make sense? Avasa, do you want to say anything about any of that?
No, you're hitting it spot on.
Sometimes it's painful to see. So, you know, with Julie, where would she belong? She might belong a little further down in your organization. We welcome Julie. We love Julie that she's bringing people in. So let's look at that. Okay, let's look at what, let me move you all over. So what is the ideal structure? Now that we looked at our bad habits or our projections or ideas, what's the ideal structure? And again, I just want to preface this by saying that none of us have the perfect structure, and we can never get caught. Please don't get caught in like, oh, I have to have this perfect structure, because when that happens, we slow ourselves down and we're waiting for something perfect, which it's just not going to be that way. So here we have you with your top line. This is ideal. You're going to have your committed and your capable. These are your leaders. These are your business partners. These are this is the reason you're creating your list, and you're contacting intentionally your 5, 6, and 7s so that you have these partners set there that you can then build with. The next line, the second line, will be really great for people who are committed or capable. So 1C, this is when we start to talk about our C's, right? 1C on that next level is a great place for them. They have a leader to support the people they're bringing in, and they can be helped, and then you can help. So there's still more space. And then on the third level is great for product users or sharers. This is a great place. And I would say Onesies are also great on the 3rd level too. So take a screenshot of this, have a sense of this. This is a great, hopeful way of where you want to put your people. And I will say that as people are coming into your organization, you want to have a sense of where you're going to be placing them. Oh, I need a new builder. So in the beginning, we need builders right on our front line. So that's why as we have all these people coming in, we want to make sure that our mentor is with us, helping us find out who is our builders. So how do we know? Anyone have an idea? How do we know if they're both committed and capable?
We test them.
That's right. We test them. Well, hold on. I did put this in Avasa, but I'll come back to it. We test them. We test them. And how do we test them? There's lots of ways, right? There's lots of ways we can test them. How have you had success in testing? Anybody?
Asking them to make 100 names list, directing them to the daily mentor calls, and just seeing if they do any of those first initial calls and follow up with you.
Awesome. Yeah. Those are great steps. Those are awesome steps to see what happens. And then you get a sense, oh, they can go there. Oh, they don't really have the time. They weren't able to do that. And then you give them another chance, right? If you give them an assignment and they weren't able to do it, you absolutely give people another chance. Life does happen. But then you listen to the information of if they didn't do it again, maybe there's some more information there. Okay, their life is really busy. They may not know how busy their life is. A lot of us don't know how busy our life is until we all of a sudden decide to do a doTERRA business. One of the most clarifying ways to test people is in the beginning is actually to ask them to bring people to you. You want to do this as a business? Great. Make your list. And is there anyone that comes to your top of mind that you would like to be your business partners? Bring them to a call with me. This is a great test. And this is a test that sometimes we might feel nervous to ask, right? And so that's a very good information just in itself. If we're afraid to ask someone who says they want to do the business to bring people with them, if we're not quite feeling it, that might be an indication that they may not be ready to start the business, right? So our internal ways of working with them is going to give us information. So bringing people is really great because, hold on a second, I'm just going to make sure I can see this. When you bring people to the table, you can see who they bring. They might be product users, right? So you might end up doing a class with them, but they might be people who are ready to start, and then you can start a whole little hub of a team together, right? So that they're learning and they're practicing everything that we've just gone through in these 3 weeks together, which is a really beautiful thing. So like Jackie said, you can give them a couple things like go to the daily mentor calls. You can have them watch a video, and if they do that, that's information, but it's not going to show you how committed or capable they are, right? So you want to work that process. Avasa, is there a favorite thing that you have, a test that you like to use?
No, I think you covered it. Like, yeah, the names list, bring a couple people to a call are great. And I do want to just do a little caveat when it comes to the committed and capable. People they're not like cemented to one way of being in doTERRA forever. There's people that will start out as more of a sharer and then eventually grow into becoming really committed and capable. People can develop in their commitment and capability, and they can go in one direction or the other, right? So,
totally. I mean, I was neither, right? I was neither
Right.
committed or capable because I was starting my own practice when I first started doTERRA. So I didn't have the space and time when I first started. Thank you for saying that, because it's huge. We do change. But then that baseline is, can they actually enroll someone on their own? That's really helpful to see how capable they are and how much we'd have to hold their hand. But sometimes someone just needs that for like a few times to walk them through, and that's totally okay. 100% okay. Maybe they're not good on the computer, right? We have a whole team in doTERRA of Amish individuals who are never on the computer, and I'm sure they need some hand-holding through their beginning process of how to send in a check and do all that process. So where there's a will, there's a way, is how I see it. So let's move on. So see who they bring. If they do bring someone to the table, right? Just see what kind of people are they, and that might give you a sense, this is a frontline person. You will know if someone brings you 3 powerful builders, I'm going to keep this person on my front line. This is a frontline builder. I'm going to go with it. But in the beginning, it's very common that we have many, many customers that we're learning about, and then eventually we will find a builder. And there's ways for us to work with that in placements. So actually, let me just go back for a minute and show this power of 3, which got really warped, but I want to show you the power of 3 because this is our structure bonus. Okay, this is our structure bonus. So this bonus, the power of 3 bonus, which hopefully you all have had a chance to absorb and understand, is when you build this power of 3 bonus, when you build for the power of 3, you teach others how to build for the power of 3, you're building towards a silver organization, right? You're building these little elite pods, right, that Avasa just showed us. So if this was you, the purple guy with the 3 blue, orange, and green guy under you, each of these you would be building to elite, and this is going to build your power of 3. I'm not going to break down the power of 3 organization right now, but I want you to just see the structure, right, so that you can have this in your mind's eye as you're thinking about that. So I have an assignment for you all around your placements. I want you to go through your organizations. Now, you may be brand new and you don't have one to go through, which is very exciting, but you can then still build, what do you want your organization to look like? A clue would be that power of 3 bonus, right? So if you're new, you're going to build that out so you can know where, as people come into your organization, you're going to place them. Oh, this is a customer, so I need to have a builder, right? So it's going to have us be braver in finding our builders and having our builder conversations. Now, if you've been here for a little longer and you have people, I want you to go through your organization and see where you're going to need someone and classify them and understand, and then go schedule in your next strategy session to go over this. Okay, these are customers, these are builders. What do you think? Do I need to have a conversation with them? That's really how we learn how to build and structure. And if we don't have that opportunity, I asked Jackie in the beginning, what if your mentor's not available? We do have an incredible group of, I lost you all, cross-line support here, right? So we have our cross-line support in our teams, but we also have this cross-line support here. I will tell you all that talking about where to place and structure and placements is such a great gift to talk through with your friends. Talk it through. Hey, I have someone, because somebody else might see something different. Hey, did you ask them about how much time they have? Right? Sometimes we forget. So it's definitely something for us to talk through and understand that we have 14 days. So that's why in the beginning, we really want to make sure when someone enrolls that we schedule that time to go over their oils and ask them, have they thought about building a doTERRA business? Would they like to come to one of our classes and learn more about that? Now, questions?
Awesome. And I just want to emphasize that of like also letting go of perfection. Like, we're teaching the ideal, and it is, you could truly create that. And there are leaders in doTERRA that have probably, nobody has a perfect structure, but probably have committed and capable people perfectly on their front line. But I will share for us, like we are fully taken care of by doTERRA. I have not, and none of my committed and capable leaders are on my front line. Not one of them, you know? So my committed and capable people are lower down, you know, one of them on my 5th level, and it's still awesome. So don't worry too much. Don't stress about it too much. But there is obviously an ideal.
Isn't that cool? Yeah, I think that's so cool, Avasa. You know, that it doesn't, like, at the end of the day, we build and we continue with our commitment, and we still walk forward every day with that. And this is our ideal. That's why if you can write it out, I think it's really nice to have all these things on a slide on the computer, but if you can write it out and look at it in your space somewhere, what you're wanting to create, it does help manifest. I really believe that.
Totally. And I know for those of you that are, also, I think probably most of this team, there's quite a few of us that have spiritual practices and we, follow a spiritual path. I often feel like as well, there's in some of my, for example, that place where there's a huge gold leader actually, and there's 4 people above her between me and her that aren't building this as a business, but they're taking a substantial check every month. And I just think about them and them being supported and blessed. And who knows, what favor, what kind of karmic payback they gave to us in their past life. And here we are now giving to, so it's really important that love continues to be the path you walk in this business, no matter what happens, and it'll all be fine.
I also had something to say, it's Caroline. We don't need to force people to make a decision if they want to build or share. Because also if they just want to be a wholesale customer and they change their mind, then we can upgrade them and then we can place them where they'll be of most use also.
100%. Yeah, I recommend, and this is a great point, and maybe Avasa, we could have a little chat about this, because I recommend when we enroll them as a wholesale customer until we have the conversation to upgrade to a wellness advocate, because it does give us an opportunity to move them later. And these are some of the finer details, which is why you work really closely with your mentor that's helping you with this, because I like that strategy, is to welcome everyone as a customer, to give us that chance, even if they're 100% sure, because it's just a click of a button to upgrade. So thank you, Caroline, for bringing that up. Yeah, we want to know within the first 14 days, but usually someone doesn't really know. It's more common that they're not sure yet. Yeah. How do you handle that, Avasa?
Yeah, wholesale customer for sure. Unless they want to be an advocate, definitely. And I want to just say too, that 14-day, you have 14 days to decide where someone moves. What is your strategy for remembering to move people? We all, right? That's a really important thing. I have definitely people, I've left people accidentally on my front line that are customers, and it hurts. They have I was just looking today, and one lady, she's got an amazing LRP, $400 in her account, and that's just sitting there on my front line. It's
I have one.
That could have gone somewhere, underneath the team that could have really taken, could have really supported, right? So what's your strategy? Are you the type that actually already naturally checks their back office every couple of days? Then maybe it's not as big of a deal for you. Do you need to put a reminder on your phone? These are $1 million decisions, these are $1 million decisions to make, right? Dana sets an alarm. Yep.
The new back office has a reminder, by the way.
I know, we are going to get a little reminder, which is...
It's there. Of course, if you go to the back office.
Totally.
That's it. But there is a reminder.
And when I have new leaders on my team, I kind of babysit them a little bit, right? When someone's a new leader on your team, right? They're literally a baby. You're breastfeeding them. You got to change their diaper. It's a whole thing, right? Until they grow and mature. And so I'm definitely also making sure to check, when I have my new frontline leader, I'm helping her also. I'm okay, you have these many days. You can click on those people you see, and you can see when they enrolled to check on how many more days they have left to move them till they get the hang of it, Yeah, I know that reminder is going to be really great.
But you do have to go to your back office to get that reminder.
Yeah. I recommend checking your back office every couple of days. Those of you that are really building this, get in that habit. It's fun. Sometimes it's not fun, but usually it's fun. Gigi, do you want to say something?
I love checking. I do my back office several times a day. I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
And I've got my own reports and all of that. I just wanted to throw out there, I've been noticing that with my new enrollees, it's actually taking about 3 weeks for them to get their kits. Just because of everything that's going on. And at first I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to get to talking to them within the first 14 days and figuring all this out? And then with the times that we're in, it's really giving me that opportunity to practice patience and really just allowing the process and allowing them their journey. And like Caroline said, we have the ability to upgrade them. And if it's after 3 months, then we can move them. So really taking those 3 months to nourish them and to test them if we think that they might be potential sharers or builders, and really allowing the process. And I feel like this time that we're living through is really presenting that opportunity for us to slow down and to really allow.
Totally. And I think that what I learned from Elise was really with her enrollments, she doesn't place them too much further down than 3 levels. You know, it's within 3 levels versus there was at one point years ago where there was kind of an influx of like, place them way deep, deep, deep down. But she really emphasizes within your first 3 levels, you know, so if someone, unless you're sure, like 100% they're just going to be a customer, then you could go a little lower. But otherwise, keep them within those first 3 levels so that if they do decide to be a builder, they're not too far away. Yeah. But yeah, patience and intuition. I pull some cards sometimes, but you never know. You just don't know what'll happen. Awesome. Any other questions?
Well, another thing with the upgrade, because I had a case like 2 months ago. Somebody upgraded by mistake actually, but because she has orders and stuff, I thought I'll move her somewhere better. But before you could just do that, but now that they have to have at least 1 enrollment within 14 days for you to be able to move them. If not, you still can't move them. So that's something also to think to keep in your back of your mind.
Yeah, totally.
And I will say that this presentation, like the other, is in the back office, and I didn't do the second half of it. The second half of it is how to work with placements mistakes. But because this is a launch your business training, we're really wanting you to have the idea of the first part of who you're looking for, where you want to place them ideally, and know that that deeper work, if you have made placement mistakes, we can help. We can help. And that's probably a training for a little bit later as we get into things. So just know that that's there. And I always like to remind everyone, doTERRA is very much like acupuncture. It's circular learning. It's like you learn one thing and then you learn another thing over here and you're like, oh, wait, and that's how we got here. And then you learn this part and you continue to go around that circle. You continue to learn and it deepens and deepens and deepens. So if there's stuff that we learned or went over today that you're like, that was over my head, I don't really know, it will come to you. You will understand it. It's just circular. So I just wanted to say that before we say bye. I know the dogs are getting restless. Mine is too. So thanks for all your attention. Go ahead, Faye.
Yeah, thank you, Dana. So just a little, so action items, right? Action items was for structuring, look through your tree, those of you that have been building, and just start to identify who's committed and capable, who's committed or capable, who's sharer, just to get a vision, or start to draw out a little bit the structure and start to visualize it. Consider, either you're in the process of Elite in 6 weeks or who are you launching to do Elite in 6 weeks. We recommend doing it yourself first. If you've never done it before, give it a shot. Even if you do, just 2 classes in a week, as an option. So consider launching that for yourself. And then so this was part 3 of our launch training. So next week, we're going to start the cycle over again. And we're going to after we do, our class will be on I Have My Oils, Now What? And then it'll be followed by a Business Made Simple presentation. So the Business Made Simple presentation is really an introduction to the doTERRA business. So really ideal for potential builders, but also for you to review some of those speaking points of like, why is this business, why does it make so much sense to do doTERRA, especially in these times, right? So that'll be next week. And then the following we'll start again with Launch Your Training part 1, and then part 2, part 3. So we'll keep flowing in that way. Go team, go. I'm glad it was helpful. Yeah, you guys have a beautiful week. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, ladies. Wonderful weekend.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Yay. Okay, bye. Love you guys.